to do. Now we're going to start working on registration and login. But before I do this, I'm going to make commit of all the changes what we have so far. VS Code has integration into version control system, Git in this case, and we can make a comment from the following interface, or we can open the terminal and execute first git status to see the result of the files. So these files have been modified, these files were added. So I'm going to execute git add to add all files, and then after git status will give me all files as green. So Git is watching those files now, and I can perform a commit, git commit -m as a message, and we can call this create post CRUD with resources or something like this. So now I created a second snapshot of this project. Okay, typically you're going to do these snapshots as often as you can, but also make them meaningful. Like, don't do one line change and then a snapshot. It's not recommended thing. Okay, so now since we have the typical CRUD functionality, I want to focus on authentication, and then we can actually start building the project, which is our really cool AI-based project. So first, I'm going to install Laravel Breeze. To install Laravel Breeze, we're going to execute the following command: composer require Laravel/breeze --dev to install this as a dev dependency. So Laravel Breeze is a first-party package which gives you ability to scaffold your project with authentication into different technologies. So if I execute php artisan breeze install, then it's going to give me a couple of options like Blade with Alpine. So this is the default scaffolding, which gives you ability to create this registration, login, profile management using Blade and Alpine.js. We have the Livewire vault with class API as well as the functional API. We have React with inertia, Vue with inertia, and API only. So we are looking for API only, and I'm going to also choose the testing framework to be PEST. So let me wait a couple of seconds until this scaffolds everything. Okay, first of all, it detected that API routes file already exists. That's great because we executed php artisan install API command, which created that API routes. That's fine. One new database migration has been published. Would you like to run all the pending database migrations? We can execute yes. Nothing to migrate because we also have the Sanctum access tokens, so nothing to migrate. But right now it is gonna do a couple of other things. Okay, so everything has been scaffolded successfully. Now, I want to show you what has been changed in our project. So if I click on the source control, so we see a bunch of changes in our project. Let me have a look if I have an option to view this as a tree. Yes, I do have this option. So I'm going to minimize everything and let's understand what has been changed so far. So inside Composer JSON, Laravel Breeze was installed. We can see this right here. Package.json and vidconfig.js was completely deleted because package.json is for asset building, for JavaScript, for CSS, and we don't have any kind of website. We don't need JavaScript and CSS. We have only API. So this was gone. Vidconfig, the same. It is for the Vid server. Vid is a npm server for building assets, so we don't need that. So inside app folder, it created a couple of controllers inside auth folder. That is for the registration, email verification, password reset, and so on. It also published the middleware, ensure email is verified. That's for the email verification process. We also have login request class right here. We also have modified app service provider. We can have a look at this as well. So it added the following create URL using the following syntax. So that's basically for the password reset functionality. All right, now inside Bootstrap PHP, inside app PHP, we have a couple of new middlewares. Again, let me collapse the left side. Ensure frontend requests are stateful, which is something we don't need, to be honest, because frontend requests will not be stateful. Okay, so before I continue here, so we see a bunch of changes. I said so many right now. So we see a bunch of changes. And not all of them is relevant right now to us. But as a beginner developers, because I'm targeting this tutorial to beginner guys, as a beginner developers, we should understand how to work with existing code. That existing code might be generated using AI. It might come with some first-party package like Laravel Breeze. It might come with a third-party package, something else. So we need to understand how to read that code, how to modify that code, how to get along with that, and how to delete unnecessary code as well. So again, I'm going to continue and give you a couple of overviews. Like we have this course PHP, which is cross-origin resource sharing. I'm going to talk a bit about this a little bit later. We have this Sanctum PHP updated. It has some, inside the stateful, basically some of the URLs were updated. Not so important right now. Resources are completely gone. CSS file was deleted, JavaScript files was deleted, and the Blade file was also deleted. This is excellent. Inside roads, we see API PHP is modified, and the thing is that our roads are completely gone, which is not something what we want. We have to recover this. Inside web PHP, we have also some changes, and we have a new untracked file, which is auth.php, and the auth.php contains all the authentication related logic that was generated by Laravel Breeze, and we have tests file as well. Okay, let's start with this auth.php, and I'm gonna simply delete, not delete, but close all the tabs, and let's open auth.php. So auth.php is used inside web.php. Inside web.php, we have included this auth.php. So what's the thing? What's going on right here? So why do we have everything inside the auth.php? What is auth.php? How it is included inside web.php? And why don't we see those auth.php inside API PHP as well? So there are two type of authentication using Sanctum. One is the session-based and cookie-based, and the second is the fully token-based authentication. So right now I have to open the official documentation, and I'm going to type Sanctum here. Laravel Sanctum. So this is the URL. And if I zoom out slightly, on the right side, we're going to see this navigation helper section. If I zoom in, then this is gone. So I have to zoom out a little bit. So here we have a couple of sections, and we have three main things I want to focus on. API token authentication, we have SPA authentication, and we have mobile application authentication. So this is what I want to target on. So by default, Sanctum is smart enough to basically support all of them. But by default, it comes with the middlewares and the functionality that is necessary for the browsers, for the web applications. More specifically for the single page application authentication, because it supports by default sessions as well and cookies as well, because if you are building your API for your browser and then you create a standalone React or Vue.js application which uses that API, then this is exactly what you're looking for. So in fact, if I open app.php from Bootstrap, we're going to see here, ensure frontend requests are stateful. What does this mean? We know that REST is stateless, which means every request is independent and server doesn't have any information about the previous request. But right now, ensure frontend requests are stateful. That means that requests need to be stateful. So session need to be initialized. So I'm going to comment out this part, completely comment out. We don't need the frontend request to be stateful. Also, I want to have a look at the authenticated session controller, which is basically the same as login controller. So first of all, pay attention to the name, authenticated session controller. So we don't have sessions at all in the REST API, right? But because this is targeted to the front end, the web application front end, because the browser, whenever it makes request into the API, then the sessions can be initialized. And we see that the name includes session, as well as in the login request, the sessions are regenerated. So this is not what we want. We're going to modify this part. But first, I want to understand what's going on here. Okay, now because this is targeted to the web application, we can see that all this authentication part, registration, login, forgot password, reset password, verify email, email verification notification, logout, all that part is of this auth PHP, and auth PHP is part of the web PHP. So they are part of web PHP, which is something I don't want. So I'm going to cut this out from here. I'm going to open API PHP, and I'm going to include them right here. Also, in our API PHP, several things are lost, like our endpoints are completely lost, and we're going to recover them. Git actually keeps track all the changes, what has been made in this file. So right now we can see this red caret. Here we also see red caret, which identifies that something has been deleted on these lines. And right here, this blue line actually means that something was changed on this line. So I'm going to again copy this, and I'm going to revert this file completely to its original state. So I'm going to click on this red caret and revert this. I'm going to click on this blue line and revert this. I'm going to click on this red caret and revert this. And finally, this is the last part, revert this. So everything was reverted how we had previously. Awesome. And the only thing is that we have now this auth part. So authentication related roles right now are part of the API. Okay, so far so good. Now let's go into changes again. And I want to review that everything is basically fully clear. And I want to also target the places where sessions are still used. Okay, login request. We're going to come back to login request, app service provider. We talked about this. Let's open Sanctum. Inside Sanctum, we are using this WebGuard. Okay, nothing significant has been changed in Sanctum. The only thing that was changed is this Sanctum stateful domains. So if we are talking about the statefulness, nothing is stateful, to be honest. So we're building an API, and that API is not going to be stateful because we are doing this in a slightly different way. We are doing this instead of sessions and cookies, we're going to have API tokens. Well, for now, we can leave everything as it is. And I'm going to target to the authenticated session controller. And I don't even like the name, so I'm going to start by changing its name. I'm going to call this login controller. Okay, good. Now let me change this here as well. Okay, good. Now let's open auth.php and find this authenticated session controller, and I'm going to replace this with a login controller here and here and here as well. That's more like it. Also, we have this registered user controller, which is more like the same name, I would name it. We can call this also register controller. That would be also fine. I'm going to click on this, open this, and we're going to target the registration part